Hello, everyone. Welcome. Happy Monday. And we will just wait a few seconds for a few people to be able to join the show. Or we may just talk to ourselves. See if we've got anyone in the comments. We have Vince Lamb out there. Hello, Vince. Yes, it is Happy Talk Like a Pirate Day. Pick a pirate, any pirate. Historical, fictional. I am partial to Our Flag Means Death. But I am not going to annoy all of you by trying to talk in a pirate voice. But thanks for joining us. Hello to Derek's Corner, Blossom and Terry, as always. Thank you for joining us. We got 10 people in the chat, 17. We're going to wait till we maybe hit a couple dozen here, and then we will launch things. You may notice that my co-host looks a little different this week. Yes, Carly has gotten a makeover.
and a voice change.
Brian is in the chat asking if we have any quick scary farm tips for first timers. Matt, you were just out there at Knott's Berry Farm, but you did not go to Scary Farm, right?
No, it hadn't started yet when I was there, but I want to say this pretty much the same tips that apply at Halloween Horror Nights would apply there. Get there early. I don't know if they have an early arrival if you're a pass holder, but
yeah, look into a stay and scream or an early admission if they have some. I think they actually do have a thing where you get a chicken dinner and then get to enter early and get early access to a few houses. I would say that would be the way to go. See if that's available. And the cool thing about Scary Farm is that they have a lot of houses and they're spread out and they don't change them over every year. So if you've never been there before, you can go to some of the houses that have been around for a few years and that the veterans are going to, pass over in favor of the newer stuff. It's all new to you. So I'd say have a good time and enjoy some boysenberry. Did you have any boysenberry when you were out there?
Of course.
Of course.
Boysenberry pie, boysenberry cookies, boysenberry.
You got to do it.
Drinks.
You got to do it.
I forget what else I had, but.
All right. Well, I think we've got a few people in the chat, so we should just do this thing, and we are going to kick this off in 3, 2.
Please lower your head and watch your step while boarding.
Welcome to the Attractions Podcast. You are all clear for dispatch. Have fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 157 of the Attractions Podcast, sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. I am Seth.
And I'm Matt.
Yes, we are joined this week by our publisher, Matt. Carly is not able to join us this week, but as always, we are here to talk to you about the latest and greatest in theme park news and more, as well as what's going on in our own lives. Matt, catch us up. You have had a busy week. You were out there in California for the D23 Expo, and I know you had a pretty amazing experience that you can only say so much about while you were out there.
Yeah, we were lucky to be invited as one of a few media outlets to have lunch at Disneyland at 21 Royal, which is exclusive enough. And then Bob Chapek came in and spoke with us. What he said was off the record, didn't really need to be, didn't say anything really controversial, right. Just kind of talked about, what things that were going on and his side of things, I guess. And then he took us on a behind the scenes tour of Runaway Railway, which is under construction there. And the queue there is totally different than the one we have in Orlando. And
it looks really cool.
Interactive. Really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's photo ops and there's things happening with different things in the queue. And it's set up by decades. So you'll go through like the early years of Mickey Mouse and then the later years up to now with the Mickey shorts and how he looks now.
And can you confirm if the actual ride itself has any additional scenes or changed scenery?
It has some changes, but nothing major, like
Okay.
nothing like a whole new scene that we don't have.
Interesting. Okay.
The changes are more like one scene. This is over here instead of over here.
All right.
There's a hallway, extra hallway that you go through. It's, I guess you could call that a scene.
All
It's
right.
really just a transition thing. And they said more. The reason they changed anything in the ride was just because of space and what they had to work with.
Gotcha.
So.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that is exciting. I didn't have quite that exciting a week, but I did get to meet someone famous connected to Disney.
That's right.
I got to meet Abigail Disney, who is the granddaughter of Roy Disney, who was Walt's brother.
And her
And
comments were not off the record.
no, she commented a lot, very much on the record, because I got to host a talk back, a Q&A session with her after the premiere of her documentary, which is called The American Dream and Other Fairy Tales. It had its world premiere here at the Enzian in Orlando this weekend. It's going to Anaheim right now. I think she's out premiering it in Anaheim. And then it's going to be at Sundance. And as of next week, you can watch it. You can rent it on Amazon Prime and other services, not Disney Plus. You will not find it on Disney Plus.
How is it?
Because it is a very good documentary. It is hard to watch because if you're a fan of going to the Disney parks, to see in such stark detail how tough the people who actually make the parks run have it. It's really hard to watch. Like, all of this stuff. You've probably heard all this stuff, but to see, it made very personal. They brought one of the employees who was featured in the film to Orlando for the Q&A, and meeting her, in person after seeing the documentary of what she's been through. It's really emotional, and it's, it makes it tough to pay for that annual pass and give all that money to Disney, knowing what happens to a lot of the people who work there. So yeah, I highly encourage anyone who gives a lot of their income to Disney to go ahead and watch this documentary.
Interesting.
Yeah. So on that happy note, I think without any further ado, it is time for us to jump into all of the news in the queue. Okay, this week's first bit of news is sad for fans of the cult favorite Disney Kite Tales show, because the Big Balloon Show at Animal Kingdom is going away forever as of September 30th. That will be its last performance. Matt, were you a big fan of Kite Tales?
No, I wouldn't say a big fan. I enjoyed watching it when I did sit down to watch it. It's not the same as it was now,
Mhm.
even because they switched it to just flying the kites around. It's not really a set show.
Yeah.
And this is from the final nail in the coffin, I guess. They didn't even announce this really. It was just somebody saw it on their website.
Yeah, it kind of
Kite
slipped it
Tales,
in
and
under
it's
the
like,
radar.
yeah.
So in case you weren't familiar, this was introduced last October. It was part of the Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary celebration. It's a daytime show that takes place in a kind of lagoon that was built for the Rivers of Light show that also got canceled, never really got going. It was a daytime show with giant animal balloons based on The Lion King and the Jungle Book being towed around by jet skis and little motorized watercraft. And kind of the thing that caught social media's attention was that in order to park these giant balloons, they basically had to crash the animals head first into the sides of the stadium. It was, intentional, but did not necessarily look really good on TikTok videos. And you're right. It started out as a full show with people in the aisles and puppets and stuff, and well, it got canceled a lot for wind. I can remember like the first 5 or 6 times I went to see it, it got canceled because of weather. And then it just got cut down to a little thing with a couple of things being pulled around in circles, and now it's dead altogether. So
Yeah, there was two different versions of it. There was
Mhm.
Lion King and
Lion
Jungle
King,
Book,
yeah, and
and
they would rotate, and I never got to see the full version of both of them.
oh
So
wow, well,
yeah,
we have video of it, so
yes, I was just gonna say, it lives on our YouTube channel, so you can relive the show at its weird peak. I gotta say, I am friends with some folks who are, have worked on the show, Kite Man Productions, who also worked on the Epcot Forever show that was, the temporary replacement for Illuminations. They also had jet skis and kites and that. And so I think they're hoping to get together a bunch of the folks who worked on this show to see one of the last performances. So I'm hoping I
mm,
can go and maybe talk to them about it.
yeah.
But that day is coming soon, September 30th. Get your park pass reservation now if you want to see that. We got some folks in the comments. Brian Sager chiming in. He's pouring one out for Kite Tales. Yeah, the next Rivers of Light, exactly. And he does point out we really do need a good lagoon show in Animal Kingdom, whether that's like a World of Color with fountains. I know we can't do pyrotechnics because of the animals, but that park needs something.
Yeah, they're trying.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll get it right one of these times.
One of these days. One of these days. All right. Moving on. This is something you got to see in D23, and now everyone can see it. Walt Disney's personal airplane is going on long-term display at the Palm Springs Air Museum, starting on Walt Disney's birthday, December 5th, 2022.
Yep, they had it in the arena area. Instead of using the arena for shows this time, they just had that plane set up in the
Mhm.
arena there. You can see it. You couldn't go inside of it. The windows were kind of blacked out.
Mhm.
I think the smell inside would not be something you'd want to experience.
I have been told that the interior of the plane became a home for all sorts of critters
Yeah.
when it was in long-term storage, and yeah, it looks nice on the outside, but I wouldn't want to go in it.
Yeah, I don't think they redid the inside. They just kind of
No.
now they have, like you see there. If you're watching our video version,
Mhm,
they did have like a chair from the plane set up on display,
mhm.
or look-alike chair, and some other artifacts, which will go along with it when it opens to the at the museum as well.
Yeah. And so this is going to the Palm Springs Air Museum. If you don't know, Palm Springs is just depending on traffic between about an hour and about 5 hours east of Anaheim, but it's where Walt had a vacation home at Smoke Tree Ranch, and it's a great little day trip. If you're doing a Disneyland vacation and you need to get away from the Disneyland resort, it's a great little day trip. There's all sorts of Disney adjacent stuff. There's a cactus nursery where they got all of the cactuses that live in Frontierland. Shag, who's the Disney artist, has a gallery there. And now you'll be able to see Walt's personal plane, which really, has a long history. It's part of the development of the World's Fair attractions and the purchase of the land for Walt Disney World. So you're going to be able to see this. The museum's open daily from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you can find more information about it at the Palm Springs Air Museum.org.
And if you head to our website, we have a lot of little facts about the plane.
Hmm.
Who celebrities that rode in it, what things that Walt saw while he was riding in it, and things like that too. So
Yep.
check it out.
And of course, our YouTube channel has a great video from the D23 Expo looking at that display. And now we are moving all the way out to the Shanghai Disney Resort, where they are celebrating a fall full of festivals, starting with Duffy Month, then a Lena Bell anniversary, and a Disney Villains filled Halloween. Full swing from September 1st, running all the way through November.
Yeah, and those two things are far from each other, villains and Duffy. But
That's what I want. No, I want to see Duffy, like Duffy trying to survive.
Zombie Duffy. How about
Yeah, Duffy being chased down Main Street by chainsaw gang. That's what I want to see.
But
No,
Duffy month will have special foods, and of course all the characters out to see. They're gonna have miniature sets out for you to pose your favorite Duffy doll with. That's a big thing over in Asia. Is
mhm.
they bring their dolls to the parks and pose them up in different ways. It was so interesting. Just a side note: when I was at Tokyo, people would set their Duffy dolls up and just leave them and then walk around the park. And here's this setup with like them having a tea party in
Okay,
the middle of the sidewalk, and nobody's around that owns them.
and no
And
one's
then
gonna touch them.
nobody touches them because it's Japan, and everybody's respectful and leaves them alone.
Yeah.
And there they sit till the end of the day when they come back and collect them. So that's kind of
We
cool.
do not advise trying that in
No.
an American theme park. In addition to all the Duffy stuff, Lena Bell, Duffy's friend, is celebrating her first anniversary with the Mickey floral arrangement at the entrance, transformed into a Lena Bell design. And you'll be able to meet Lena Bell and Duffy and other friends throughout the park doing greetings. If you aren't familiar, of course, these are kind of characters created exclusive for. Actually, they weren't created for Asia. They were created for Walt Disney World and went over very poorly in Walt Disney World, then became huge hits in Asia. And I know my co-host is going to be very sad that she missed yet another opportunity to talk about, especially Lena Bell. Carly loves Lena Bell. So there will be all sorts of Lena Bell food, merchandise, cute popcorn buckets, lots of stuff to spend money on. And even Duffy and Friends themed souvenirs in hotel rooms at the resort. That's just September. Then October brings Golden Week, the first week of October, which is a huge public holiday. Involves a lot of travel and tourism in China. And they're even doing a special projection show on the castle from the 1st through the 3rd to celebrate that.
And then we get into the Halloween season and the Disney villains from October 4th to November 4th. And that looks really fun.
Yes, China has apparently not yet learned that Halloween starts in early August. They still amazingly just confine Halloween to the month of October. I don't know how they could do that. But yes, the villains will be out full force. They will appear on the castle balcony, waving like the dearly departed queen to their fans. And then after dark, there's going to be a Halloween treat cavalcade. And the Tomorrowland Pepsi E stage is going to light up for a This Is Halloween dance party. And of course, it wouldn't be Halloween without some ghost pirates over in Treasure Cove.
Yep. And that's unlike here, their Halloween activities are all included in your day ticket. You don't have to buy a separate ticket for these things.
Yeah, the big extravaganza happens on the 28th through the 31st. They're going to have party zones with Disney Villains show theme, and they are going to have meet and greets with some rare characters, including Lotso, the Evil Queen, and even Loki.
Nice.
So something that I think is cool, as you mentioned, these things are included in regular park admission instead of being an add-on, and then they offer special ticket bundles to make things even cheaper. Like they have a Halloween afternoon ticket where you get into the park after 3 p.m. and then you get a coupon book for food and drink.
Nice.
So that would be nice. I think that Disney's domestic parks need to look into afternoon tickets or even just afternoon reservations because I never do rope drop anymore. I would love an option to just go in the park in the afternoon.
Yeah.
All right, so there is some footage of past Shanghai Disneyland celebrations that you can find on our YouTube channel, and you can find all about the activities going on at shanghai disney resort.com. Disney.com. Hopping from Disney back to Universal, Universal Orlando's resort has welcomed the return of the Death Eaters and the Dark Arts at Hogwarts Castle show, which returned as of September 16th.
And that runs to the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the Death Eaters will be walking throughout the park, and then they'll have the projection show on the castle.
Mm-hmm.
And much the same as they've had in past years. It was interesting out at California. The Death Eaters are only out in the land during Halloween Horror Nights.
Yes, they are. Yeah, they're restricting them to Halloween Horror Nights, whereas in Orlando they don't touch the area for Halloween Horror Nights. They don't even like have any. There have been rumors over the years that they do something in London in Diagon Alley. Never. Never added anything for Halloween, but yeah, that they make Halloween Horror Nights exclusive for the Death Eaters in California is interesting. But at both parks, they are running the Dark Arts show. I don't believe that they are using the drones anymore in California. The first year it was introduced with, I think, a drone effect that's gone.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that.
But there is a tiny little burst of pyro at the end of the show here in Orlando. It's just mostly a projection show. If you want a tip for watching this, so the way it works is they kind of corral everyone who wants to see the show before the show in the area that's sort of like the main area of Hogsmeade, and it's just around the corner, so you can't actually see the castle from the spot where they hold everyone. So the show basically, first one has been running at 8 o'clock, and then 8:20, 8:40, and 9 p.m. right at park closing. So you need to sort of get in the corral area like 15 to 20 minutes before. They bring out the Death Eaters to entertain the people waiting for the show, and then they'll move you up when it's your turn to see the show. Or, here's the other way you can do it. There's a pathway that is kept for people who just want to ride Forbidden Journey. There's never a wait for Forbidden Journey at that time of night. All you got to do is go like you're going to ride Forbidden Journey, then go out the gift shop of Forbidden Journey, and you can watch the show from the exit of Forbidden Journey without having to wait.
Yeah,
don't tell them I told you that.
Yeah. Well, if you ride, you've done nothing wrong. If you
exactly.
Out,
you just slow walk it out the exit.
And don't think you're going to sneak up on the bridge, because when it gets really busy, they stop you from coming across the bridge.
Exactly. The bridge to Jurassic Park becomes one way only. So that will not help you.
And it says they're also going to have some new Dark Arts themed merchandise featuring the Dark Mark with mugs, hats, lanyards, tees, and even a Death Eater mask, which I know they've had a Death Eater mask in the past, but
they have had that before. I just want them to start selling Death Eater breath mints or Death Eater mouthwash, because like if you eat a lot of death, you probably need some mints.
Well, if it had that effect of like something coming out of their mouth or smoke or something, that'd be really cool.
So we've got a video of this show up on our YouTube channel. But of course, projection shows, they never really have the impact on video. It's something you got to see in person.
And the Death Eaters are fun. If you're scared of the Death Eaters, you don't have to be. They are a little creepy, but they just creep around. They don't jump out at you really.
Yeah, it's not so much a jump scare, just like a stalking. They just get like kind of intimidate you. But
right,
if you have a wands, stand firm and they'll back off.
Yep, yeah, they'll play with you that way.
Yeah. So you've got until October 31st to check this out at Islands of Adventure, and also throughout Halloween Horror Nights over at Hollywood.
And you don't need to go to Horror Nights to see it here. You just need a ticket to get into Islands of Adventure, and you're all set.
Exactly. All right, so we are moving to the middle of the country now, heading to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, where the Anakeesta Mountaintop Theme Park is about to get even bigger with a $34 million expansion that's going to add a new double mountain coaster, an enchanted night walk, a European-themed village, And what I thought looked really cool, a giant kid-sized birdhouse with slides and things to play on. This looks like a lot of fun for a theme park that we don't really talk about much.
Yeah, I can't remember if I went there or not. I went to a couple of the mountain coasters, and I can't remember if this was one I visited, but I definitely want to go back when they have this. And it says in November is the Astra Lumina Enchanted Night Walk. That sounds
Mhm.
really cool. You get to walk through the Smoky Mountain Forest with lighting and projections and audio that tells you a story as you go through that. That sounds really fun.
Yeah, well, they are partnering with that on Moment Factory, which is a multimedia studio that's done a lot of big stuff for Disney and Universal. So
Nice.
that will be very professional quality. I sort of see it as similar to the Villains Walk that they have in California Adventure for Halloween.
Yeah.
Kind of not necessarily scary, but just very themed and immersive and lots of neat trippy lighting effects. So that looks really cool. And in the spring of 2023, they're going to open the first phase of this new European themed village. And the first attraction there is going to be Bird Venture. It really looks like a birdhouse that has been supersized, and it's got all these cool twisty slides and things to walk on. 7 different 50-foot slides. That looks like fun.
That does look like fun. And then, completely opposite of a kids attraction, they have a new mountain coaster coming called Hellbender.
Hellbender, yes, that's a very family-friendly name. Yeah, so if you've never been on a mountain coaster, I grew up going to Action Park in New Jersey, the infamous. So you basically sit in a little sled, and you've got a handbrake that maybe works. Hopefully, this will be a
This
modern
one will
version
work,
that
yeah.
will work. But yeah, basically just gravity taking you. There's going to be a single rail version, a double rail version, going downhill around the coaster, going through tunnels around the mountain. That sounds like a really good thrill.
Yeah, and then, also opening is some shops
Hmm.
and, Mimi's, Bakery, which I'm
Hmm.
sure is gonna be very excellent. Um, so
Yeah, this is in the Great Smoky Mountains area of Tennessee. And you're right, there's quite a number of attractions. It's not we don't talk about that area like we do Orlando, but you could definitely make a destination out of a vacation some of these places.
yeah.
So this all is due for completion in 2024. And if you don't know how to spell it, just visit ANAKEESTA.com. All right. Well, I believe that is going to just about wrap up our news in the queue. But before we get into our big news of the week, it is time for a word from our sponsor.
The Attractions Podcast is brought to you by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Whether your next vacation is a magical trip to the theme parks, an exciting adventure to the pyramids of Egypt, or just a relaxing cruise on the turquoise waters of the Bahamas, MEI Travel provides premium service and expert advice to help you get the most of your vacation. They are always free of any hidden fees or costs to you. Visit them at mei-travel.com.
It's time for the main attraction.
All right, this week's main attraction, we had way too much that happened at D23 Expo last week to talk about it all. So right now we are going to look at a few of the details that were revealed about the Disney 100 Years of Wonder celebration, and that is including new experiences, events, entertainment, products, and nighttime spectaculars, all celebrating the 100-year history of the Walt Disney Company. And according to Bob Chapek, this is all going to be centered around Disneyland itself.
Yeah, that's some of the things they're having. And I'm like, wow, would have been cool if we had something like that for the 50th event in Walt Disney World.
Oh, yes.
Sounds like they're going to do it right this time, but we got to go to Disneyland to see most of it.
You
Although
know what?
we're getting some here. Or
Ye-
there,
I can't. I am just as disappointed as you that Disney Plus Day was a bigger blowout than the actual 50th anniversary. But that was they're planning that at the peak of the pandemic,
Right.
and I'm sure they didn't want to go all out for something that they weren't going to get a return on. But you are right. It definitely looks like they are pulling out all the stops. Coming back this year, starting in January of 2023. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this new World of Color 1 is all about.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Um I, I didn't get to see World of Color when I was out there just recently, but I'd love to check this one out when it opens.
Yeah, in case you've never seen it, World of Color is the nighttime fountain show that takes place at Disney California Adventure. It's had been gone for over a year, I think, because of some major technical problems with the underwater fountain system. But it came back, and now it is being swapped out. We are not sure whether this is maybe a temporary show just for the year or whether this is going to be a permanent replacement. We don't really know a lot about it, but it will include stories and images from Disney classics and new favorites, just like every nighttime show they do.
Yeah.
And the other new thing we're getting is Wondrous Journeys at Disneyland Park. And this is, they did Disneyland Forever for the 60th anniversary. They brought that back a couple times. They also have the Mickey Mix Magic Show, which is basically a projection show with a little bit of fireworks that sometimes doesn't even run. But this looks like it's going to be a full-on fireworks show, and
Yeah.
that excites me because they need a good new one.
Yeah, the Wondrous Journeys is interesting. It says it's going to include all 60 of their movies or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, they're going to find a way of incorporating all 60 films
All
into.
60 animated
Yep.
studios films. That'll be fun. I'm sure some of those will be fly by in a second.
I was just gonna say, I'll be blank and you miss it.
But,
And
that's
I'm also really excited. I never got to see the Magic Happens parade, which basically debuted, and then a week later the world shut down. So they are finally bringing the Magic Happens back parade in spring of 2023.
yeah.
So I'm very happy that Disneyland at least has a parade, a daytime parade again, and over in Orlando, we're getting a new nighttime spectacular.
Well, we're getting an old one too.
Well, so it's confusing to me. The exact phrasing when they announced it was not that they're bringing back the happily ever after fireworks themselves, but they're bringing back an updated, revised fireworks show that's going to include the happily ever after song. So I really think Happily Ever After is the best fireworks show that Disney's ever done. I think the current one that they brought in for the anniversary is not great.
Right.
And I'm going to be blasphemous and say that I was kind of bored of Wishes by the time it went, and I was
Yeah.
happy to see Wishes go away. I
Yeah.
know that's blasphemy. But I think everyone loved Happily Ever After, and it sounded like at the expo everyone went wild when they mentioned that the song is coming back, and I think they were cheering too loud to hear that it's not necessarily the exact same show. So we have to hold our breath and see what exactly the show is that we get.
Yeah, my thoughts is it'll be probably the same show with some plus added to it, some scenes added to it. I don't know. That's just my guess, but
I'm hopeful that's it. The surprise, as you mentioned, though, is that we are getting a brand new show in World Showcase Lagoon at Epcot, and I don't know if anyone really knew that Harmonious was going to be this short-lived. Seems like an awful lot of money spent on barges, and I'm told that the barges are not part of the new show.
Are they not? I don't think they know for sure.
That's the rumor. I have not heard anything officially, but the rumors I'm hearing are that at least that big ugly barge in the center that blocks the view and stops and basically means that you can only watch the show from one side or the other if you want to see that center ring. I think that at least is not going to be part of it. So
Yeah, I wouldn't be
bring back
surprised.
the Inferno barge, darn it, from
I wouldn't be
Illumination.
surprised if the barges all go, but I think it speaks to, they can say that those shows, the Magic Kingdom and the Epcot one, were only for the 50th, and that's why they're going away. But the reality is, if they've been big successes, they would still be here.
Yes,
They
exactly.
they weren't.
I
I
I
think
think
people liked Harmonious a little better than the one in Magic Kingdom, but
yes. I would give Harmonious a C plus as opposed to a C minus for the other one. I think Brian nails it on the head. Yes, the portals, the barges at Epcot look exactly like these time portals from Stargate. Yeah, it's time for those to go. Absolutely. Um, but in other news, other parks around the world are going to get some pluses for the anniversary, including a new statue of Walt and Mickey sitting on a bench together in Hong Kong Disneyland. It looks really cute.
my only problem with that is that encouraging kids to stand on the benches.
No, yes, exactly. It's encouraging bad habits. Outside of the parks, there's going to be plenty of movie releases. Some of them stirred up a bit of controversy on social media. Sigh. Um, uh, Walt Disney Animation
Mhm.
Studios Chief Creative Officer Jennifer Lee gave us some details about Wish, which is an original animated musical with all new songs by Julia Michels. And then we got a tiny little preview of The Little Mermaid, which stars Hal Bailey as Ariel. And in addition to The Haunted Mansion, which is coming out. What did you think? Did you watch any of these presentations live?
Yeah, I was at the
Okay, you were in the so
at it.
you were in the room where it happens.
Yeah, and the Little Mermaid, we got to see the whole sequence. People in
Okay.
attendance got to see the whole sequence. I think it was part of my world. But
So
and it
I gotta
was
ask, about that then, because I'm not sure whether it's just like maybe they didn't have the high dynamic range settings correct when they published this trailer to YouTube. Does the entire sequence look that dark and murky and gray and washed out and colorless?
hmm. No, I didn't notice it looking bad at
Okay.
all. So,
Yeah, because the trailer that's posted to YouTube, you only get a very quick view of her, but it looks like they shot it through a really dark filter. Nothing pops.
yeah, I was watching, noticing that a lot of the scenes were shot in the same way that the animated was directed, with
Yeah.
her
Well, the
standing up.
camera angles, yeah, like the
Camera
camera
angles were all about
angles,
the
yeah.
same, and then I was also looking at her hair, seeing
Mhm.
how do the at first glance it looks a little weird to see somebody speaking underwater and you're hearing
Right.
their voice clearly, and
Sure.
you didn't with the animated version you didn't even think about it, but when you see an actual human speaking underwater, you're like, wait a minute. And then her
Right.
hair, is how it had floated around her as she sang, was interesting.
Mhm.
But I think those are things that you look at the first time you see it for a few seconds and then you forget about it. So I think it'll be a good film. And
You
then
know,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm just you mentioned that it's basically, angle for angle, shot for shot in some places, and I'm wondering if we're reaching the place with deep fakes. And I don't know if you've played any with Dolly 2 or any of these
I've
artificially
seen.
intelligent things. They have things now that you can just put in a sketch and draw a very crude cartoon, and then it will generate a photorealistic photo
Right.
based on that. Why can't we, instead of spending all the money to remake these movies, why can't we simply feed the original cartoon into one of these artificially intelligent things and have it
I
just deep fake her face right
I,
onto it? I
I
think it would
think
be
it's
cheaper and quicker.
I think it's the dead eyes. We still haven't
It's
figured
dead
out
eyes, exactly. We haven't
the
figured out
human
the
eye.
eyes. You're
Once we
absolutely
figure
right.
that out, then we're good. But uh, and then the Wish, back to the Wish movie, I
Hmm.
guess uh that is based on the fact that every other Disney animated film has you wishing upon a star or
Mhm.
something to do with a star. So this is kind of takes place before all of those films,
So this is
and
the prequel to the entire Disney metaverse.
yeah, this is the origin of
Right,
the
the origin
Disney
story
star.
for this. Oh gosh. This is
Yeah.
exactly what we need. Now we need an origin story for the Blue Fairy, an origin story for the Fairy Godmother.
And then
Boy.
and back to the Haunted Mansion, which is the
Yes.
other film. And I don't know that these are really Disney 100 celebration movies, or they just happen to be coming out during this year. But
Mhm.
they're
I
they're
am
they're
glad that they named it Disney Haunted Mansion, not the Haunted Mansion,
why?
because the attraction is Haunted Mansion,
It's
not
both.
the
It's
Haunted
both.
Man in Disneyland, it
Okay.
is officially Disney Haunted Mansion,
Okay.
and Disney will never use capital V.
They I mean Disney does use capital V sometimes, and I think the mansion here is the Haunted Mansion. I've looked into it and found it both ways by Disney, so I guess
Alright.
either one is
Well,
correct.
we're gonna have to have a nerd out offline about that one.
But the Haunted Mansion movie, the bad news I have for it is I have a couple of friends who got to see an early screening
I do
and
too.
said it was not good. So
It was a very early cut. It was a
right,
very yeah,
they can
it was
fix it,
very early cut, but I was
which is
told
sad
I was
because
told I was told it is better than the Eddie Murphy movie, but
that's good.
that's a low bar. That's a low
Yeah,
bar.
exactly. um, and people are hoping for a scarier Haunted Mansion. It still looks like it's a comedy. I don't know. I mean, the Haunted Mansion is a mix of comedy and scary, so that
I
fits. But
Yeah, I mean, I never as a kid, I always found it a little creepy and silly, but never I always thought that the idea of the Haunted Mansion was scarier than the ride itself, you know?
yeah,
Especially like the storybook and the record and stuff, like, listening to it, imagining the Haunted Mansion was
right.
definitely scarier than the actual
Yeah,
ride.
you walk up to it as a
Yep.
kid and you hear those creepy sounds and you look up and it is scared. It does look scarier than it actually is.
We actually have, for some reason, another remake of Peter Pan. I feel like we've had 5 live action Peter Pan movies since Hook came out, and none of them were better than Hook. But we're getting another one, and that was gonna go straight to Disney Plus.
And one of the things that they announced that I don't think we knew before is that Hook and Peter Pan used to be friends in this version,
Oi, oi, oi,
and
oi.
now they're not friends, but they're old buddies.
Yes, just like Cruella and the Dalmatians were best friends.
Yeah,
Moving on, Disney 100, the exhibition, is going to open at the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia, which is my favorite children's museum in the country. And that is going to open on February 18th of next year before embarking on a North American tour that's going to include Chicago and Kansas City. And an international version is going to kick off in April in Germany. And I would love to see one of those because it sounds like they had some great stuff from the archives on display at the expo.
yeah. We did a little video showing some of the
Mhm.
Tron archives pieces from the movie, and also some old Haunted Mansion pieces that are no longer in the mansion.
Mm.
That was pretty cool. But has everything from the rides to and the movies and everything.
And then I think next we move into consumer products and merchandising, starting with possibly the most inappropriately marketed mouse ears. I don't even know how to describe this. It's your standard Mickey and Minnie mouse ears, but as if someone had poured some silver paint
Paint. Yeah.
dripping off of it. And I saw a tagline that I really hope this was a fan-made Photoshop and was not the genuine Disney
I
advertisement
believe
that
it
appeared
was
to
the
be.
real. I believe it was the
That
real
said
thing.
that Minnie was dripping with excitement over
Yeah,
this new merchandise, and I think we should just leave it there. I don't think we need to comment. I
yeah.
think it just the joke writes itself, and we don't really need to say anything else.
That's been deleted from wherever that was written.
Yes, someone probably got
But
us talking to
there's still
over that one.
there's you can still buy the ears. It's just the way they describe them has been changed.
Right.
So the
But
ears are still available.
so this is part of the Disney 100 Platinum Collection. And there are going to be products capturing this classically Disney look, paving the way into the new century. There are going to be collectibles on Shop Disney centered around the 1920s and Steamboat Willie, which that's pretty cool. And then they're going to have stuff from different decades going through the 30s and the 40s and so on. And there's a whole bunch of books coming out from Disney Publishing covering the whole history of the company.
And I think that platinum theme is going to be seen in the parks with some
Mhm.
decorations in the castle and sort of things like that too.
Yeah, we've gone through in recent years the rose gold phase. Remember that? And then we had the iridescent.
Iridescent, yep.
And so now they've decided platinum is the new black. So be grateful it's not orange.
Yeah.
You're also going to be able to find a new website launching on January 1st at Disney100.com. A documentary is going to be on ABC News, and Disney Music Group is going to celebrate. It's pretty much every aspect of this giant conglomeration is going to get in on it. And you can go to disney.com/Disney100 and follow along with all the fun.
Yep.
Well, that just about brings us to the end of another episode. Before we go, we want to thank, as always, our sponsor, MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. Once again, I'd like to remind everyone to please give us a review on Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating on Spotify. If you want to find more coverage from all of us and Attractions Magazine on the interwebs, you can find me personally at the UG Series on Twitter, at the Unofficial Guides on Instagram, and at theunofficialguides.com, where you can pick up copies of my new books. Matt, where can they find you personally if they want to follow you along?
You can find me at Matt Boom on Twitter, and then Attractions Matt on Instagram and TikTok, where you can see lots of little funny videos of my dog.
Excellent. Please subscribe. And of course, you can find the whole Attractions Magazine team and all of our news stories at attractionsmagazine.com, on Twitter at Attractions Magazine on Instagram, for the kids at Attractions on TikTok, and on youtube.com/Attractions Magazine, where you can find all the videos that we talked about today. And until next week, where hopefully Matt will morph back into the lovely Carly, we hope that you folks stay safe, try something new, but most importantly, have fun. And we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.